In a scene that could have been lifted from a thriller, a routine shopping trip at Walmart in Florida City took a dark turn. What began as an ordinary day at the store spiraled into chaos when a heated argument erupted near the front registers.
Turned to a deadly shooting. Surveillance video obtained by Local 10.
Surveillance footage reveals the escalating tension as a group of individuals converged in the checkout area, their disagreement quickly erupting into a full-blown brawl.
In the moment, shots were fired inside a Florida City Walmart, killing one man and leaving another injured. Watch as the video shows a group gathered in an aisle.
The situation took a horrifying turn when one man, in a moment of utter desperation, brandished a gun and opened fire. The violent outburst claimed one life and left another person wounded.
Near the front registers when a fight breaks out, one man pulls out a gun and begins shooting.
He got shot right there in the chest 2 times, and he was bleeding.
The victim shot and killed.
The assailant was promptly apprehended by authorities and now faces serious charges for the tragic events.
As 23-year-old Nathaniel Baez, 72-year-old Alan Donlan says he was an innocent bystander shot in the foot.
It leads us to believe that he was shot due to...
On October 4th, 2021, a seemingly ordinary trip to a store in Niagara Falls took a dramatic turn when 2 customers decided to transform the aisles into a makeshift boxing ring.
This is oh my God.
The scene unfolded unexpectedly as 2 men, their motives unclear, squared off in the middle of the store. It was as if Anthony Joshua and Floyd Mayweather had walked into an everyday shopping trip, only to bring the excitement of the ring with them.
Yo, Don Dirty better beat this nigga ass, man.
With the store's aisles cleared, the men unleashed a flurry of punches, jabs, and hooks, turning the retail space into their battleground. Shoppers watched in a mix of shock and fascination before stepping in to put an end to the unexpected showdown. In July 2020, a northern Arizona Walmart turned into a war zone when a 52-year-old man entered with a loaded gun and started threatening employees with it. The armed suspect then held employees at gunpoint inside the store for more than an hour.
A very quick-thinking and brave employee grabbed the gun, and at the same time, he and the remaining staff inside the store ran out of the store through a nearby fire exit.
Dominguez.
The 52-year-old would hold the employees hostage. The man's intentions were unclear, as he didn't take the cash and run away. Instead, he held employees at gunpoint for over an hour. While this hostage situation was going down, police forces were closing in on the store, hoping to find a peaceful resolution.
Quiet community, they had to realize the unthinkable can happen anywhere.
This is a wake-up call for us.
Dominguez is set to face 8.
The suspect, identified as Dominguez, would threaten employees in between talking with a police negotiator. The negotiations were tough, and the man was so engrossed in his feud with the police that he forgot he'd placed his handgun on the counter. What happened next was the ultimate display of bravery from the employees.
A very quick-thinking and brave employee grabbed the gun, and at the same time, he and the remaining staff inside the store ran out of the store through a nearby fire exit.
Dominguez.
A very quick-thinking and brave employee grabbed the gun, and at the same time, he and the remaining staff inside the store ran out of the store through a nearby fire exit. Once the gun and the hostages were gone, the man was done for.
For another gun-related incident from earlier in July. We're in Phoenix. Michael Doudna, 12 News.
In a last-ditch attempt to erase evidence, he even tried breaking security cameras, but of course the damage was already done, and he wasn't going to get out of this one. It was then that police rushed in, and they were able to de-escalate the situation and quickly take him into custody. Thankfully, everyone was able to make it out safely.
It did happen, as police would get 911 calls last week coming from a Walmart,
stating they heard what sounded like a gunshot outside the store.
3 years ago, as COVID-19 continued its relentless spread, mask mandates became a staple of daily life. though not everyone was willing to comply.
It started at the greeting door, an employee urging...
In a tense exchange, a customer dressed in red pants was approached by a store employee and asked to wear a mask. The customer's refusal quickly escalated into a physical altercation, resulting in the employee being violently thrown to the floor.
The greeting door, an employee urging a customer to wear a mask, a request that ended in violence. Dawson Creek police say a confrontation erupted between...
With the situation spiraling out of control, the customer began to throw a series of punches at the worker, even going so far as to smash the employee's phone on the ground. Despite a small crowd gathering around the scene, the customer showed no signs of stopping, leaving bystanders in shock.
Investigation going on right now, which involves an alleged assault, among other offenses.
RCMP say they arrested...
A couple of police officers walk into a Walmart because a suspect with arrest warrants has been sighted inside. The officers are calm, hoping to detain the man without any drama, but the suspect has other ideas. Things escalate when the officers approach the suspect, who's sitting down at McDonald's. He's not in the mood to be arrested, and to make matters worse, he's also armed with a handgun. Things kick off as the officers scramble to avoid the suspect's gunfire, especially returning the shots themselves. It's utter mayhem, and the suspect catches the officers off guard with his escape attempt. In this next video, a man dressed in black is seen calmly selecting items from the shelves of a store, meticulously tossing them into a shoulder bag.
This is the store of 25 logos. We have this.
He continues his quiet shopping spree, moving down the aisle as he adds more items to his collection. As he walks to another part of the store, a customer accidentally bumps into him. The suspicious-looking man reacts quickly, grabbing a couple of bananas and hurling them at the unsuspecting customer. Unfazed, the customer retaliates by picking up the bananas and throwing them back. The encounter quickly escalates into chaos, with the man in black randomly pulling items off the shelves and launching them at the other man as if it were a bizarre throwing competition.
No, we don't need that. Whoa.
Okay, man. Hey, stop.
In this shocking video from Atlanta, a man is seen walking out of a store toward his black sedan, but he isn't alone. Another man with a gun visibly tucked into his waistband follows closely behind. The tension is palpable as they exchange words, their body language suggesting an escalating confrontation. Just as the first man reaches his car, the situation takes a deadly turn. He pulls out an AK-style pistol from his vehicle, and within moments, the two men are exchanging gunfire.
With a gun in his waistband is following him. Then the man goes to his car and pulls out an AK-style pistol. Moments later, both start firing shots at one another.
The scene descends into chaos as bullets fly in every direction, shattering car windshields and causing panic. The suspect eventually runs off, but the driver, undeterred, continues to fire shots at the fleeing man.
You can see the bullets hitting the windshields. Incredible. The suspect runs off as the driver continues firing at him. As the driver's trying to leave,
With the other shooter now out of sight, the driver attempts to leave the scene as well. However, the violence has left its mark. Just as he tries to drive away, a woman emerges from the store, clutching her shoulder, evidently struck by a stray bullet during the harrowing exchange.
A woman comes out holding her shoulder after she was shot. Her condition not known this morning, but police are still investigating, and so far, believe it or not, no one's been arrested. So, with video.
Not all heroes wear capes. In this surprising video, a shoplifter faces instant karma at the hands of a determined grandmother. The scene begins with the shoplifter casually wheeling out a cart full of stolen items. A curious customer asks if he paid for everything. The shoplifter nonchalantly responds with a yes and continues towards the exit. As he approaches the doors, a grandmother with her shopping cart appears and blocks the exit. She knows he hasn't paid for his items. The shoplifter's frustration begins to show.
You gonna pay for that? Yeah. Where? You gonna pay for it?
Unfazed, the grandmother takes action. She yanks off the shoplifter's mask and demands he leave the cart behind. Defeated and visibly upset, the man grabs his bag and leaves the store, taking off on his bicycle. His failed attempt now a lesson in instant karma.
Get out.
All right.
Get out. Get out.
Take your go.
This deer, having grazed on enough grass, decided it was time for some groceries and wandered into a Walmart store.
This deer wandered into a Walmart and wreaked havoc.
However, an employee quickly stepped in to handle the situation, wrestling the deer to the ground. Without intervention, the deer could have caused considerable chaos in the store.
This deer wandered into a Walmart and wreaked havoc. So this employee stepped in to show her who's boss. Give this woman a raise. This isn't the first time.
Imagine going to a store to buy groceries and finding yourself with a knife held to your neck. That's exactly what happened here.
Drop the knife now! Drop it now!
This woman entered a Walmart brandishing a knife, reportedly threatening people. The police immediately ordered her to drop the weapon.
Now! Drop it.
Body cam video shows the suspect barely moving or even responding to the deputy's commands.
Despite their commands, the woman remained defiant and unmoving, ignoring the officer's demands.
She continued to threaten people until police arrived.
Put the knife down. Put it down now.
Once back up.
Eventually, the police had to deploy a taser, sending her crash to the floor and leading to her arrest.
The suspect was taken into custody and charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon.
This boy certainly bit off more than he could chew. Inside a Walmart store, he decided to use the aisles as his football practice ground.
I'm gonna find this football.
Setting up his phone camera, he stepped back a few meters and started juggling a brown ball. After a brief warm-up, he kicked the ball high into the air. To his surprise, the ball soared straight into the ceiling, shattering several lights. The loud crash of breaking glass echoed through the store, drawing immediate attention. Realizing the commotion he'd caused, the boy quickly grabbed his phone and hurriedly left the scene. If he's caught, he'll have quite a bit of explaining to do.
Oh my.
This male store clerk's day took a sharp turn for the worse when an unruly female customer stormed into the shop.
Dude, I will destroy your store. Give me a black and white jack. What up?
For reasons unclear, the clerk didn't want the woman in the store and asked her to leave, but she refused, instead launching into a full-blown tantrum.
Black them out.
Visibly frustrated, the clerk stepped away from the register, attempting to physically remove the lady, unaware of the challenge he was about to face.
Lift this up. Lift this up.
Hold on.
The woman, surprisingly resilient, resisted fiercely, ending up on the floor but still refusing to exit. Instead, she retaliated by striking the clerk across the face.
Call the police. Call the police. Call the police. You just leave me. What's up?
Lift the store.
What's up?
Lift the store.
When the clerk tried to make a call, she slapped the phone right out of his hands, clearly ready to escalate the situation further.
What's up, nigga? Come on, go out back, go back.
Irritated and out of options, the clerk disappeared through a door, presumably to get security. Only then did the woman finally leave, but not before tossing merchandise onto the floor in a final act of defiance.
You okay? She in the back like, I just want some chips. Oh, I just need a cigar.
An ordinary day at this donut shop in Oakland quickly turned into a nightmare for one employee when a brazen robbery unfolded before her eyes.
Other news tonight, a brazen robbery at an Oakland donut.
3 hooded and masked men approached the register, initially giving the impression that they were regular customers. But the situation escalated when one of them suddenly vaulted over the counter while another brandished a gun.
You can see the masked men standing at the front of the store when one of them jumps over the counter, holding the employee at gunpoint.
The men advanced toward the employees with an intimidating presence, forcing the employees to retreat several meters. According to her later account, they made off with a significant amount of cash.
Here in Oakland for close to 40 years, and this is the worst that they've seen it.
Police still looking for the suspects, and they encourage anybody with information to call Oakland Police.
In this viral video from Atlanta, a man walks out of a store and heads toward his black sedan, but another individual follows closely behind.
Take a look at some terrifying video here from Atlanta. It shows a shootout at a gas station.
They exchange a few words, but tensions quickly rise when the first man reaches into his car and pulls out an AK-style pistol. Moments later, gunfire erupts between the two men.
A gun in his waistband is following him. Then the man goes to his car and pulls out an AK-style pistol. Moments later, both start firing shots at one another.
The crime scene descends into chaos as bullets fly in all directions, even shattering the car's windshields. The suspect eventually flees, but the driver continues to fire at him.
You can see the bullets hitting the windshields. Incredible. The suspect runs off as the driver continues firing at him. As the driver's trying to leave, a woman...
With the other shooter now gone, the driver tries to leave as well. However, when a woman emerges from the store clutching her shoulder, it becomes clear she was struck by a stray bullet.
A woman comes out holding her shoulder after she was shot. Her condition not known this morning, but police are still investigating, and so far, believe it or not, no one's been arrested. So, with video.
In a grocery store where order is the norm, chaos suddenly took over. A man, seemingly out of his mind, was seen strolling down an aisle, clutching merchandise in his hand as if it were a normal shopping trip. But this was far from ordinary.
I gotta go out.
Don't come back in.
I gotta go out.
Don't come back here. Can you leave the parking lot?
From behind the camera, an employee's voice echoed with firm instructions, urging the man to leave the premises. Yet the man stood his ground, defiance in his eyes. Without warning, he flung his purchase into the air, narrowly missing an unsuspecting customer who had the misfortune of being in the wrong place at the wrong time.
I don't want you in this parking lot either. I know what you do.
It's enough. I've told you now.
You need to leave the store now.
Give me. Just with your finger.
Despite the repeated warnings, the man was undeterred. He turned his back to the employee, walking away as if nothing had happened. But then, in a sudden burst of reckless energy, he broke into a run, his arms sweeping across shelves, sending products crashing to the floor in a whirlwind of chaos. His rampage led him to another section of the store, where he unleashed his fury on a display of pots and pans. With a swift kick, he sent them clattering across the floor, ignoring the employee's desperate pleas that someone would have to clean up his mess. His path of destruction continued into the fruit section. pineapples and other fruits were hurled to the ground, rolling away in a mess of color and waste. The employee's voice, now laced with the threat of police intervention, rang out again, but it fell on deaf ears. Finally, as if sensing the impending consequences of his actions, or perhaps tiring of his madness, the man made his exit. Without a word, he walked out of the store, leaving behind a trail of chaos and bewildered onlookers.
Then it's assault.
We need an officer here now to restrain him. He needs to be restrained.
In this startling video, a brazen armed robbery unfolds in a quiet grocery store in Queens, Jamaica. The scene is tense as 3 suspects enter the store, their intentions becoming clear within moments.
In the Jamaica section, one pulled out a gun while 2 others went behind the counter and emptied the register of just over.
One of the men suddenly pulls out a gun, holding the terrified employees and customers in check. While he keeps watch, the other 2 swiftly move behind the counter, their hands working quickly to empty the cash register of just over $1,000. The entire robbery is over in seconds, and the suspects flee the scene on foot, leaving the store's patrons unharmed but shaken.
Police say the suspects took off on foot, then got away in a white sedan. No one was in the store, was injured.
In a smoke shop in Compton, what began as a routine day quickly turned into a nightmare. 4 men entered the store, their intentions unmistakably hostile.
Suspects in this deadly shooting. Happened 4 weeks ago. 4 men walked into a smoke shop in Compton, attempted to commit.
Sensing danger, the security guard behind the counter pulled out his gun, but what followed was a fatal exchange of gunfire. In the chaos, the guard tragically lost his life, and another employee was wounded, though they managed to survive the ordeal. As the dust settled, 2 of the suspects were arrested, while the remaining 2 are still at large, leaving the community on edge.
Armed robbery, a security guard pulled his gun out, and the shootout began. The guard was killed. Another employee was wounded but survived. 2 suspects have been arrested. The suspect.
This robber will think twice before targeting another store, if he even survives this one. In 2016, 2 would-be robbers made the fateful decision to target a gun store in Mapleton, Georgia. The video captures their entrance as they hold an employee at gunpoint, trying to intimidate their way to a quick score. But as they approached the register, they made a mistake that one of them would never forget. The store's white-haired owner wasn't about to let his business be an easy target. As soon as he saw the robbers advancing with a gun, he swiftly drew his weapon and opened fire, killing one of the men instantly. The second robber, realizing the tables had turned, bolted out of the store under a hail of bullets. Chaos erupted in a Walmart store in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, where confusion reigned supreme. The man behind the camera captured the unfolding madness on video.
Walmart at it again.
The footage begins with a dramatic scene. A large woman in one corner is relentlessly beating a man who's down on the ground. Across the store, a big, burly man has another woman pinned to a counter, leaving her with no chance to break free. After the burly man finally releases the woman, he turns his attention to the big woman across the aisle. For a few intense seconds, they clash before pulling back, likely to catch their breath and save their stamina.
Walmart at it again. Crazy.
As the video continues, the man who was initially pinned on the ground rises to his feet, only to be met with another round of attacks from the big woman. Meanwhile, the slender woman begins taunting the burly man, adding fuel to the already burning fire. Sadly, scenes like this are becoming all too familiar in Pennsylvania. June 15, 2019 began like any other day at the Walmart in North Versailles Township, Pennsylvania. Shoppers went about their routines, pushing carts and browsing aisles in peaceful oblivion. The CCTV footage captures this calm scene. Customers strolling through the store, selecting items, and chatting without a hint of trouble in sight. However, tranquility shattered when Rojanai Alston entered the frame. Her demeanor relaxed as she checked out products. Suddenly, out of nowhere, another woman lunged at her from behind, igniting a fierce struggle. As the two women grappled, a small crowd began to gather, drawn by the escalating conflict. The fight took a terrifying turn when Rojanai, amid the melee, produced a pistol from her bag and began firing. The once peaceful store erupted into chaos as even her companion had to duck. What began as a routine shopping trip quickly escalated into a heated brawl in this Walmart, as two women turned a simple disagreement into a personal showdown. The woman in the yellow sweater, clearly exasperated, turned her back on the other woman, hoping to end the confrontation. But the other woman was undeterred and approached her from behind, prompting the woman in yellow to turn back around.
I know how to take your poor ass on about this stuff. Quit fucking with me. You better go, woman. You better back up off me. You better back, bitch.
In a surprising move, the slender woman headbutted her opponent, sparking an all-out fight. The two women tumbled to the floor, each pulling fiercely at the other's hair as their struggle intensified. Realizing the situation was far from calming down, a man stepped in to intervene.
Your mama wanted you come here messing with me. Your mama.
With the help of other customers and Walmart employees, he managed to separate the two women, bringing a temporary halt to their altercation. Even after being pulled apart, the women continued to exchange sharp words, their anger still palpable. If not for the quick actions of those around them, it's likely the brawl would have resumed, leaving the store's shoppers on edge.
That's all right. That's all right. This woman came in here messing with me. She came in here messing with me. I wasn't messing with her.
The scene at this Walmart in New Jersey quickly transformed into a makeshift WWE arena, with a crowd of onlookers gathered to witness an unexpected spectacle. What seemed like a casual day of shopping took a dramatic turn as two couples became the center of attention. The men squared off, throwing punches and grappling with each other in a bid to dominate the fight. Meanwhile, in a separate corner of the store, the women were locked in their own fierce struggle, pulling at each other's clothes and hair. The cause of this intense altercation remains unclear, but it's evident that whatever triggered the fight was significant. Attempts by other customers to intervene and separate the women were met with resistance, as they too were accidentally caught in the crossfire. Eventually, the fight subsided and people began to talk, trying to de-escalate the situation and calm both sides. Black Friday at this Walmart store in Murrieta. In a surprising turn of events, the Christmas gift aisle at this store became the setting for an unexpected brawl.
A Black Friday fight in the middle of a Walmart. This is in the Christmas wrap aisle of the Murrieta Walmart.
Two men, one an active Marine and the other a retired Marine, decided to settle their differences with their fists. Demonstrating the combat skills they'd honed in the Corps, they tackled each other to the floor with surprising intensity.
Set off when an elderly woman's cart bumped one of those men. He responded rudely. The other guy...
The escalating fight caught the attention of a security guard who stepped in to break it up. Despite the intervention, one of the men ended up with a broken nose, a painful reminder of the day's unexpected violence.
In the woman's defense, both combatants are Marines, one retired. It ended when that security guard intervened. One of the men suffered a broken nose, but nobody wanted to pursue any charges.
This robber will think twice before robbing another store if he survives this one. In 2016, two masked men chose a gun store in Mapleton, Georgia for their heist. The surveillance footage captures their brazen entry as they seize an employee at gunpoint and march toward the register, unaware of the consequences their actions would bring. The store owner, a white-haired veteran with nerves of steel, wasn't one to be intimidated. As the robbers advanced, he swiftly drew his firearm, unleashing a flurry of shots that dropped one of the assailants instantly. The second robber, stunned and terrified, bolted from the scene, his plans in tatters and his future uncertain. At Walmart, you might encounter a range of odd behaviors, but what happened here was truly out of the ordinary. A man stumbled into the store, babbling incoherently, his actions suggesting he was under the influence of drugs.
Walmart, but you rarely see something this bizarre. A man walks into the store, babbling utter nonsense. But that's just the start, because in what appears to be a drug-fueled episode, he goes on.
His erratic behavior quickly escalated into a full-blown spectacle. As he wandered through the aisles, he began grabbing and throwing items with reckless abandon, tossing food and spilling drinks on himself. There was no apparent rhyme or reason to his chaos. His movements were erratic and unpredictable. But the scene took an even stranger turn. The man discarded his shirt and continued his bizarre spree, even going so far as to eat raw eggs. Amidst the turmoil, he repeatedly cried out, "Lord, help me!" reflecting his apparent distress and lack of control. His tumultuous episode was a surreal and unsettling spectacle, highlighting the extremes of human behavior when influenced by substances. In San Jose, what started as a routine day at a local Walmart quickly turned into a nightmare. Shoppers meandered through the aisles, seemingly unaware of the impending chaos. The tranquility was shattered when a massive crowd, clearly in panic, surged toward the store's entrance. Their fears were confirmed as a car barreled through the front doors with explosive force, smashing everything in its path and injuring several people in the process. But the destruction didn't stop there. The driver, showing no signs of stopping, continued to wreak havoc, leaving a trail of devastation. The incident quickly escalated from a shocking collision to a full-blown emergency as the vehicle tore through the store, further amplifying the chaos and fear among those inside. On a seemingly ordinary afternoon at a Las Vegas Walmart, the store was quiet, almost eerily so. Shoppers meandered through the aisles, and the lack of crowds seemed to offer an unusual calm. Amidst this tranquility, a man in a black jacket and gray trousers moved through the store with an unsettling nonchalance. He wandered down one aisle, pausing occasionally as if examining products. To onlookers, he appeared merely like another shopper. However, his actions were far from benign. With a deliberate calm, he went about his task unnoticed by most before casually drifting away into the store's interior. Minutes later, another shopper entered the same aisle, only to be met with a shocking discovery. The aisle was ablaze, and flames were spreading with alarming speed. Panic erupted as the fire consumed shelves and merchandise. Employees scrambled to contain the fire, struggling to extinguish the spreading inferno. The fire was not an isolated incident. The arsonist had struck again, having set another store alight just before this one. His sinister actions were eventually uncovered, leading to his identification and arrest. The scene of chaos and the subsequent investigation revealed a disturbing pattern of deliberate destruction, bringing a swift end to his destructive spree. In July 2020, against the backdrop of the pandemic and the nationwide George Floyd protests, Tampa faced its dramatic scene at a local Walmart. As tensions ran high across the country, the chaos found its way into the store, with hundreds of looters storming through the entrance. The absence of security left the store unguarded, turning it into a free-for-all. Shoppers who had come for groceries found themselves witnesses to a surreal and disturbing scene. Massive flat-screen TVs were grabbed and carted away, while others took the opportunity to wreak havoc, destroying merchandise and creating a scene of utter mayhem. The looting was not only shocking in scale, but also in its aftermath. Despite the widespread destruction and disorder, most of the looters managed to escape without facing any immediate repercussions. The event stood out as a stark reminder of the lawlessness that can erupt during times of social unrest, leaving a lasting impact on the community and the store. In July 2013, a mother was shopping with her two daughters at an Oklahoma Walmart, with the younger child sitting inside the cart. But while that's normal for most people, putting her daughter in the shopping cart was going to cost this mother dearly, since later, while the mother's back is turned, a stranger reaches in and grabs her 2-year-old little girl from the shopping cart.
Store surveillance video shows a mom wearing a white shirt shopping with her two daughters. Seconds later, while the mother's back is turned, this stranger reaches in and grabs her 2-year-old little girl from the shopping cart.
Her stunned 12-year-old sister watches the man snatch the child from the cart while the mother isn't looking. However, he wasn't there to kidnap her. He even poked the mother to get her attention because his motives were a lot more sinister. The man, Sammy Wallace, hands a cell phone to the girl's mother and demands she call a police officer he knows in Dallas, Texas, all while holding a knife to the little girl.
The man, Sammy Wallace, hands a cell phone to the girl's mother and demands she call a police officer he knows in Dallas, Texas.
It was a hostage situation and no one knew what to do. They'd already called 911 and the police were on their way. That said, the negotiations with the man didn't exactly go as planned either. Afraid for the child's safety, they moved the mother and her older daughter to the front of the store.
Afraid for the child's safety, they moved the mother and her older daughter to the front of the store.
Wallace starts counting down from 60, threatening to harm the child. With the man counting down from 60 and increasingly moving the knife closer to the child, the officers needed to take quick action, and that's exactly what they did. Then, while one negotiator distracts Wallace, another goes up and shoots him point blank. The negotiator knew if he was going to take the shot, he had one chance.
Then, while one negotiator distracts Wallace, another goes up and shoots him point blank.
In Georgia, a group of 5 individuals orchestrated an elaborate theft ring that systematically plundered local Walmart stores. Over just a few months, their operation amassed over $3 million in stolen goods, including high-value items like large flat-screen TVs. The group employed a sophisticated ruse to avoid detection.
A big-time theft ring targeting Walmart stores busted. The crimes were in 7 local counties and many more elsewhere in Florida.
They would pay for items with cash and use the pretense of exchanging faulty TVs. However, the reality was far more cunning.
This is surveillance video of the men walking out of Walmart with those large TVs. Investigators say the men would use cash to pay for large, expensive televisions.
They salvaged old, damaged TVs from the streets, repackaged them in pristine Walmart boxes, and returned them for a full refund. The deception was so well executed that it went unnoticed, allowing them to pocket the refunds and resell the refurbished TVs.
Place a salvaged TV in a box and go back to the store to get a refund. Now, investigators say this happened at Walmart stores in 39 counties in Florida, including Duval, Clay, and St. John's.
Their scheme was extensive, spanning Walmart locations across 39 counties. Despite their success, their criminal activities eventually caught up with them, marking the end of their lucrative yet illegal enterprise. In 2014, Joseph Wilcox was simply waiting in line at his local Walmart checkout when chaos erupted.
Jeremy Tanner standing in line at the Walmart on Stewart and Nellis.
Yells filled the store as gunfire rang out. Jared and Amanda Miller had just left a nearby pizzeria after committing a horrific crime.
Cox reaches for a gun he has on him and chases after Miller, not realizing there's a second shooter.
Jared Miller, already responsible for the deaths of officers Igor Soldo and Alan Beck, walked into the Walmart with the intent to cause more mayhem, brandishing a firearm and seeking additional weapons. The store was plunged into peril as he moved through the aisles, threatening everyone in his path. Joseph, who was legally armed, heard the gunshots and knew he had to act. Braving the danger, he drew his weapon and pursued Jared Miller, unaware that Amanda Miller was also armed and waiting. In a tragic turn, Amanda shot and killed Joseph, who had selflessly tried to protect others from further harm. Though Joseph Wilcox paid the ultimate price, his bravery allowed many to escape safely, including his best friend. The suspect's reign of terror came to an end when they were apprehended by the police. The final moments of the surveillance footage capture the Millers on the ground, Amanda injured, surrounded by officers who had swiftly responded to the scene.
The final moments of the video show the Millers on the ground. Amanda is injured. The two surrounded by police who are watching them from a surveillance room.
When you steal from Walmart and try to make a run for it, you might expect a loss prevention officer to intercept you at the door. But one suspect in Mobile, Alabama, had a far more audacious escape plan. Caught attempting to shoplift from a Walmart, the man was apprehended and brought back inside by a loss prevention officer. Realizing that escaping through the door was no longer an option, he hatched a daring scheme. He climbed into the ceiling vent. What followed was straight out of a movie. As security scrambled to locate him, the man navigated through the ceiling, making his way toward the front of the store. In a dramatic twist, he managed to position himself right above the entrance door. With a flourish, he pushed his feet through the ceiling tiles, leaped down, and sprinted toward the parking lot. Against all odds, he vanished into the night, leaving behind a trail of disbelief and a story that would be retold for years to come. In an unusual episode at a Walmart, a woman captures a startling confrontation on her phone. As she spots a man walking into another aisle, she immediately starts recording and rushes towards him.
Who are you taking a video of? Who are you taking a video of? Who are you taking a video of? Show your face.
But this isn't just any ordinary shopper. The woman accuses him of taking unauthorized videos of her and her friends, demanding that he reveal his face and stop his actions. The man, looking take-aback and uneasy, tries to evade her by walking away.
Who are you taking a video of, my friends? What are you doing? You some type of sex trafficker or something?
What might have seemed like a typical disagreement quickly escalates. Fueled by frustration and anger, the woman chases after him, shouting for him to stop filming women in the store. Her escalating confrontation highlights the intense reaction to an unsettling invasion of privacy, turning an ordinary shopping trip into a dramatic clash.
Stop taking videos of females at Walmart. Get out of here! Predator! We got a predator!
Not every strange event unfolds inside a Walmart. Sometimes the parking lot itself becomes the epicenter of chaos. In Clinton, a seemingly ordinary day at Walmart turned into an extraordinary disaster.
We speak tonight. 16 WABT Scott Simmons has more on the ground giving way and why.
The parking lot, usually a mundane space, was suddenly transformed into a scene of unexpected calamity. A sweltering heat wave followed by torrential rain had wreaked havoc on the ground beneath. As shoppers went about their business, they were met with an alarming sight, their parked cars slowly sinking into the asphalt. The relentless rain had undermined a significant portion of the lot, causing more than 30 parking spaces to collapse.
Perhaps more so the rainwater causing this large section of Walmart parking lot to give way in Clinton. More than 30 spaces have collapsed, causing store operators to block off the area.
What began as a routine visit to Walmart quickly became a nightmare as vehicles were swallowed by the crumbling ground, leaving car owners bewildered and dismayed. As a motorcycle gang's rampage was caught on CCTV, the CCTV camera at a petrol station captures a chilling sight, a swarm of bikers storming into the gas station with a menacing presence. Their arrival is swift and chaotic as they pour into the store, grabbing items off the shelves without a second thought, seemingly indifferent to the surveillance camera recording their every move. The scene devolves into pandemonium as the riders, devoid of any apparent leader, scatter throughout the store in a frenzy. Though no violence erupts, their overwhelming numbers and reckless behavior allow them to completely seize control of the gas station, leaving it in disarray. In an unimaginable turn of events, another CCTV camera reveals a daring motorcycle gang's audacious stunt in London. 3 bikes boldly ride into a shopping mall, bypassing security and driving straight inside. Armed with axes and bats, 3 of the gang members wreak havoc inside the mall, smashing their way through displays and fixtures. Their brazen escapade is a resounding success as they exit the mall just as dramatically as they entered, leaving behind a trail of destruction.